Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about profundity, profound wisdom to be found in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. So it is my contention that Gary Gygax created a human flourishment engine and disguised it as Dungeons & Dragons. I think I'm the only person on the planet who believes that specifically, right? I really think, for a whole lot of reasons, I don't think Dungeons & Dragons is a game. I don't think it was a game on day one. I don't think it's a game on day now. I think it's a human flourishment engine disguised as a game, right? And then Gary Gygax, because he created this human flourishment engine and hid it, everything that comes from Dungeons & Dragons is fundamentally different than anything that comes from any other tabletop role-playing game in the world, because they're all games, right? Whereas Dungeons & Dragons is a human flourishment engine. So the things that are made of Dungeons & Dragons contain profound wisdom. Literally wisdom that we can use to better ourselves as human beings. And so my contention is that the movie Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves is not a popcorn film, is not an American blockbuster. It is a source of profound wisdom, right? And I want to share with you the life lessons I've learned from each one of my viewings of Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. So this profound life lesson came from my third viewing of Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, and it is how to process friends who your relationship wanes with if you're a dungeon master. All right, so how to understand a waning relation, excuse me. How to understand a waning friendship through the profound life lesson presented in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves on what happens with friends and how a dungeon master or an engaged Dungeons & Dragons player can process their friendships. All right, so I had this huge life-changing event in 2020, in fall of 2022, the greatest campaign I ever ran, a 2.5-year campaign where we literally shared the dungeon master duties and passed it along in a set. We had about 30 to 40 sessions in this game. There was no less than 10 players that played in this thing. It was the greatest Dungeons & Dragons experience I ever had in my life. Okay, now I think I am building a better one right now with a better group of people, and I'm excited about that. But I had 3 friendships in that. Right, my Titanium player is really shaping up to be my best Dungeons & Dragons friend, because he's the one that came back and got me, and that means a lot to me, right? Like, he was there before, he was there during, and he was there after. The whole thing shattered. This whole campaign shattered. I lost one friendship. One friend drifted away, and one friend showed me that he was always my best friend when it came to everything, right? I think he's the one. You always ask, like, if it's 1 a.m. and you're like, I need you to get a shovel and meet me in the park, who's going to show? Right? Like, and now I know it's the Titanium player, right? And so, but there were other people in the mix, right? So let's talk about the narrative player and the mechanical player, right? So my relationship with the mechanical player is completely ended. It's ended over Dungeons & Dragons. We had we were friends for no less than 8 years. The friendship broke over Dungeons & Dragons, right? And I'm no longer friends with that person, right? Now, why? Well, the reason why is our differences over Dungeons & Dragons were just too intense and too adamant, right? We're both extremely intense, adamant dungeon masters, right? And we had a Dungeons & Dragons disagreement, right? And the whole thing just shattered over Dungeons & Dragons, right? That mechanical player, he's up and running today, right? He actually is running at least 2 Dungeons & Dragons campaigns right now, right? He's still adventuring, right? I was, it was tough coming back to Dungeons & Dragons physical table game. There were periods where I got so low I considered streaming games, right? Like, that Scott Garibay's low if he's considering streaming games, right? Like, some emulation of Dungeons & Dragons distinct from what Gary called us to, right? A physical table game, right? So, so you have the mechanical player. He's up and running. He's adventuring. We're no longer friends, but he is still dungeon mastering today, right? let's talk about the Titanium player, right? He is adventuring today, right? He runs Dungeons & Dragons. And he adventures. Like, he's literally in my game. And he adventures both figuratively and literally. What is the adventure he does literally? Being my friend. That is an adventure, right? I am extremely intense and adamant. I do not, like the rest of the world, they're like, oh, you know what? I really don't like this person anymore. I'll say nothing and we'll drift apart slowly. And neither one of us will know if we're friends or not. I do not do that, right? If I'm no longer your friend, I will tell you. I am no longer your friend. I never want to see you again. Done. End of sentence, right? Like, and he knows that. He's literally seen me do it, right? Like, yeah, like, and I can't believe he came back and said, Scott, it's time to get, gather our friendship back together again, and it's time to roll D20s, right? Like, so my Titanium player is extremely, he's a powerful friend, and I do not take her for granted for 1 minute. And he is adventuring. He's both he's doing it figuratively and literally. And also, that mechanical player, he figuratively adventures, he runs adventures, and he literally adventures. I could tell you right now, and I'm not going to list any of adventures, because they are adventurous. That guy, he don't play, man. Like, very interesting guy, right? And I do miss him. I miss him as a friend, right? All right. Let's talk about the narrative player, all right? I see him once every 3 to 6 months. We talk about playing Dungeons & Dragons. We talk about playing other games, right? But we don't, right? And at first, I really didn't know what to do with this, right? But Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves explained it to me. He's Marlamin'ing, right? So he used to figuratively adventure, and he used to literally adventure, right? But now, he's Marlamin in Honor Among Thieves. All right, so let's talk about Holga Kilgore. If you don't know, the heart of Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves is Holga Kilgore. She is the most important character in that movie, right? Marlamin is the man she loved and the man she left her tribe to be with. She literally married him, right? And Marlamin, when she gets out of Revel's End, she goes to see Marlamin, right? And she looks at this beautiful house that Marlamin's built, and she goes, oh, he painted the shutters. Pretty, right? And then she goes in and she talks to Marlamin, right? And Marlamin's like, and she's like, what's going on, Marlamin? He's like, well, I got a new lady, and she's bringing home, fish. We're going to fry up that fish, and it's going to be great, and I have this beautiful home, and I painted the shutters, right? And she's like, yeah, you did. You have this beautiful home, and you painted the shutters, right? And she says, are you happy? And he says, I am happy, right? She doesn't drink herself silly. She doesn't rob people, right? And she doesn't go out in the middle of the night and I'm not know where she is. And what he's really saying is, she doesn't adventure, nor do I. I paint the shutters, right? And this is what and at first I was really upset because I'm like, oh, this friend of mine, he doesn't want to Dungeons & Dragons anymore, right? And that means he doesn't like me. That's not the case. I think he does like me. I think we are good friends. The problem is he is Marlamin'ing. He is getting his nice home, and he's painting the shutters. He no longer adventures, right? He is going into a period of his life where he wants fried fish, he wants comfortable cushions on the chairs, and he wants painted shutters, right? And he doesn't want to adventure. And I need to process that, right? Because I was kind of bitter toward this friend for not doing the thing that we did together. And it's not that he's not doing the thing we did together, right? It's that he's not doing the thing, right? He's Marlamin'ing. He's painting his shutters, right? And there are people who do this. There's lots, and this is the question Gary asks every day from the grave. Do you adventure, or are you a non-player character entity, right? Do you do inactivity? Do you do safe, risk-free things, right? Or are you in the mix? Are you playing Dungeons & Dragons, which is a risk, right? Oh, you're like, oh, Scott, just playing Dungeons & Dragons. No. Dungeons & Dragons is literally and figuratively adventure, right? You want to know why? Oh, you're like, oh, no, Scott, Dungeons & Dragons is just a game. No, They will come to take it. They will come to take it. They will come to take it. They've done it twice. 1983. D&D be gone. Give me your books. I will burn them. 2023. That was 1983 Satanic Panic. Give me your Dungeons & Dragons books. I will burn them. 2023 Manic Panic. D&D Beyond. Give me your digital books. Destroy your subscription. Get rid of all your Dungeons & Dragons books. Same call. Destruction of Dungeons & Dragons. D&D be gone is what they cried in 1983. D&D be gone is what they cried in 2023. Dungeons & Dragons is literally and figuratively an adventure. They will come and try to take your books. It will never end, right? The only thing that will change is who's trying to physically or digitally burn your books. We are never safe. We must sentinel. We must protect this thing. We must protect it from OGL zealots, and we must protect it from religious zealots. It is literally and figuratively adventure. And my friend, I realize now, my narrative player, is Marlamin'ing. He's painting the shutters, right? And I don't need to be upset with him. I don't need to think less of our friendship. He is making a choice for himself. I don't respect that choice. I think it's a weak choice. I think you should be at the table, figuratively and literally. Right? I think you should never stop adventuring. But he has the right, and he is my friend. And I'm hopeful for the day where he decides to put down his paintbrush and pick up his virtual axe and start adventuring again. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. And in my humble opinion, you can understand friendship and you can understand life through the profound wisdom presented in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.